Welcome into A Toast of Film. I'm one of your hosts, Ebo, and guys, I don't know what was going on with my green screen. It was acting up. You can see the green screen right there. So we're just doing it with this one corner of the room so y'all don't see the disaster construction going on behind us. But I had to get in here because I have a episode I'm very excited about. I'll be reviewing not one, but two new theatrical releases. Americana, nice little modern day Western anthology, and Witchboard, remake of a older horror movie. And I was trying to find like a witch themed beer because we got some Witchey Women kind of going on. I could not find one, so I decided to go with a little Americana. We got Old Smoky Tennessee whiskey. I went with the peanut butter whiskey. Got a nice, neat glass. I feel like that's a good little, Americana substitute. So, cheers. Let's get this thing started. It's very peanut butter forward, which I am not mad at. So, I will tell you, we'll start with Americana and then Witchboard. And then I have a special top 5 this week. Top 5 witches in film. So, stay tuned for that. So Americana, this is from writer director Tony Tost, might be Tost. This is a multi-part anthology of a small South Dakota town involving a rare Lakota tribe ghost shirt. So you have all these individuals trying to get their hands on this ghost shirt. Some for, some for like what it's worth emotionally, and some for what it's worth financially. So we have Penny Jo, who's played by Sydney Sweeney. She's a waitress. She has a stutter. So everything, we got Lefty Ledbetter, who's played by Paul Walter Hauser. Just a, happy old dude looking for a woman. We got Mandy, played by Halsey. She's a woman on a mission. We got Cal, played by Gavin Bergman. This young man, he's a little kid who thinks he is the reincarnation of Sitting Bull. We got Ghost Eye, played by, fantastic actor Zahn McClarnon. You've seen him in a lot of stuff. He is the leader of this Native American group. We got Dylan, played by Eric Dane, who's just a jerk off. And we got Roy, played by Simon Rex, who's another jerk off, but this one's rich. So this is a anthology, and it's done out of order. So where we start the film ends up being like 3/5 of the way through the movie. But it's told in segments. So we have Mandy, Cal, and Dylan. They have their own segment. Dylan is with Mandy until that ends. We got Penny Jo and Lefty. Those two are, trying to get money. And then we got Ghost Eye versus Roy, who are trying to get the shirt for their own goals. Now, good cast. Like I said, Sydney Sweeney, she's real big right now. Paul Walter Hauser, also real big. Halsey, she's doing a lot of stuff. Ghost Eye, played by Zahn McClarnon's been a lot of stuff. Eric Dane, he was McSteamy in Grey's Anatomy. And Simon Rex, that's our boy from Scary Movie 3. But this movie, when it starts out, I was having trouble getting into it. And then by the time everything wraps up, you do really come to like a decent conclusion where you're like, okay, you know what? I am kind of about this. Like, it's not the greatest film I've ever seen, but I enjoy it. You just got to get through a lot of at the beginning, and then you do get this satisfying conclusion, I would think. Let me tell y'all, I really liked Paul Walter Hauser in this movie. He was really good. He just is playing just a good old dude. I thought Sydney Sweeney was great in this. Her, with the way she was doing the stutter, it was very convincing. I thought she was fantastic. Everyone else does a good job. I don't really know anyone who does like a terrible job. The thing you need to know is you just got to get through a lot at the beginning, and then you will get a payoff, in my opinion. But I mean, I would give this a 3.4 out of 5 cheers. I think it's enjoyable. Like I said, Sydney Sweeney is fantastic in this. And I don't think anyone else is giving a bad performance. So check it out. Americana in theaters now, probably hit streaming pretty soon. All right, so we got Witchboard. So this is from writer director Chuck Russell, who, I mean, the dude. Writer director of the Blob remake, writer director of Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors, director of The Scorpion King, director of The Mask. So, but he's been around. And this is a remake of a 1986 film, Witchboard, that had 2 unrelated sequels. Basically, think of a Witchboard like a Ouija board on steroids, because it's kind of like a clock. It has all these weird images. And in this, we got Madison Eisman plays Emily, our girl from Jumanji, Tales of Halloween. You've seen her. Young, blonde woman, very good actress. We got Christian, played by Aaron Dominguez, and Alexander, played by Vecna himself, Jamie Campbell Bower. So basically, they're opening a restaurant, and everything kind of goes haywire. We do get a little backstory on the Witchboard. You know, Vecna, Jamie Campbell Bower, Alexander, he's got like some Targaryen witches. Like there's these 3 women that all look the same, and they got that like Targaryen white braided hair. You know, they're just trying to start a restaurant, and then this ancient pendulum board comes into their ownership, and haywire ensues, death ensues, a lot of crazy things. The CGI is really bad in this make. That's one thing y'all do need to know. CGI is very bad. And also, I thought it was like, I'm not saying they needed this, but I just thought it was a funny choice. They did make sure to blur out nudity. Like you can tell like it's blurred out. So I thought that was an interesting choice for a horror movie, especially potentially R-rated horror movie. I'm not sure on the rating, but if I had to guess, it would be R-rated based on the violence in the film. So yeah, it's rated R. So interesting choice. Not that it's needed, just interesting. This movie felt like a streaming movie. I did not see anything in this movie where I'm like, oh my gosh, let me tell people. Like the people in it, they're doing their best for what material they have. There's nothing to really write home about. I would put this at like a 2.3, maybe 2.4 out of 5 cheers. I just think it's very forgettable. I don't think it's the worst film I've seen this year or even on that scale. However, I do think this is a very forgettable film that it's not really worth your time. We've had sensational horror movies this year, last year. So there's just no reason to waste your time with this one. But if it hits streaming, you know, like Netflix or whatever, just pop it on if you're interested, but don't rush out to theaters. But while that movie was kind of a letdown, I want to get in here and tell you my top 5 witches in film. Now, I will start out with an honorable mention because not really a witch, titled as a witch, not really a witch, but Aggie, voiced by Jardella Furlan in Paranorman, one of my all-time movies. And little Aggie, she's not really a witch. She's just a girl with a gift. So can't really put Aggie in there. But at number 5, and I'm going to get some flack for this. I know it. They had to make the list, but I have some people ahead of them in the pecking order. That is Winifred, Mary, and Sarah, the Sanderson sisters, played by Bette Midler, Kathy Najimy, and Sarah Jessica Parker, respectively. The Sanderson sisters, they're so iconic. They have such interesting looks. They're sisters, but all 3 of them are so different. So they had to make the list. At number 4, I did have to get one horror movie on here because The Unnamed Witch in The Wretched. The Wretched is a crazy movie. I'm pretty sure Trey and I have discussed it on here, if not reviewed it. So check out The Wretched if you want a good horror movie like Witch. I think it's the best one out there. At number 3, I have Lena DeChanis, played by Alice Eglert, from Beautiful Creatures, based on the book. Honorable mention, Ridley Duchenis, played by Emily Rossum, who looking, yeah, she would kill a lot of men. But I really like Beautiful Creatures. I hate that of this. It came out when we were getting all these YA novels, and it unfortunately did not get the cut that everybody else was getting. But I really like it. I don't see why we can't just go ahead. Let's get a sequel going. Beautiful Creatures 2. I think there's more books in the series. Number 2, this was hard for me not to put number 1, but number 2, we got Marnie Piper, played by Kimberly J. Brown, in Halloween Town. And I got to throw out honorable mention to Aggie Cromwell, played by the late, great Debbie Reynolds, Gwen Cromwell Piper, played by Judith Hogue, and Sophie Piper, played by Emily Roski. Emily Roski, by the way, very good TikTok account. Very fun. You should check it out. But Marnie, like, she was part of my childhood, so I had to include her in my top 5. But speaking of my childhood, speaking of a movie I adore, there is no better witch in cinema history than the Wicked Witch of the West, played by Margaret Hamilton in The Wizard of Oz. She is the be-all, end-all witches. She has the iconic look. She has the line. She's just bad to the bone. So I had to give... And also Margaret Hamilton, she was a very sweet woman. So love giving her a shout out. Wicked Witch of the West has to be number 1 best witch. But we're at the end of the episode. Like I said, guys, we have, if y'all could only see how horrible my, the room looks right now, but it's going to look so good. So y'all just better be prepared for that. You better be prepared for the coolest studio you've ever seen. It's coming soon. But if you will let me know what you thought of Americana or Witchboard, or you want to let me know who is your favorite witch from a movie. There's so many ways you can do it. Let me tell you the best ways. Check us out on Instagram and TikTok, A Toast to Film, all one word. Check us out on Twitter at film_toast, or check us out on YouTube. You can see me chilling in the corner with my Clingstone hat and my Buc-ee's Halloween shirt. And, we got the little Old Smoky going. And you can just make sure to subscribe, make sure to like, make sure to comment. I love comments. Keep them coming. And we just hope you have a good night and a good viewing.